there, fellow comic fans. As always, I'm Scott Harris King, coming to you live from the Couch of Solitude, and we're here to celebrate the end of another successful Kickstarter. So this has been a little bit different from my previous Kickstarters. It's Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam Returns, where we're doing blank covers. So why don't we just start, and I'll show you that page, and then we'll just talk about how the campaign's gone. So here it is. You can see we have 20 backers, $459. But the goal was only 300. We actually hit that within the first day. And so successful campaign, even though it's much smaller than what I normally do. But very exciting nonetheless. So in case you haven't seen, hold on, I'm not sure you actually saw that. There we go. All right, so in case you haven't seen the previous video where we did the launch live stream, the purpose behind this Kickstarter was to raise some money to do some blank variant covers for the first issue of the series. So having a little technical difficulties here. But the idea was basically, I've been doing some sketch covers recently on some of my other campaigns, and those have been doing well. People seem to really like those. So I thought, why don't we do some blanks for Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam? And when I did the first two issues of Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, they both successfully launched on Kickstarter, but I didn't print any blank covers. So the purpose of this is just to do some blank covers. It's going to be issue number 1, same interior as before, but the cover is going to be completely blank, no logo or anything, nothing on it at all. It's just going to be so people can get their own covers done. And hopefully people will like that. It's something that I'm excited to have in my own collection. So that will allow me to draw my own sort of variant covers for that. So I'm having some technical difficulties here, so hopefully you can all see and hear me okay. But yeah, so the idea is basically do some blank variants so we can draw our own covers, and if people want to commission in future campaigns, commission me to do covers for Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, to draw unique covers, we can do that. I just thought it would be a fun thing to have. And as I mentioned, it's the campaign is, we successfully funded on the first day. So that's been terrific. Tartan Phantom, hey, thanks very much for joining me. I'm currently away from home, but thought I'd drop in for you. Can't stay long due to bandwidth for my current location. That's totally understandable, totally fine. I appreciate you joining me. A lot of times with these live streams, I don't actually end up with anybody. Sometimes the first half hour or more. So I appreciate it. I was just saying that one of the big reasons I did this campaign is so I could draw my own covers, and specifically, I really wanted to do, scroll down. I really wanted to draw some covers with the National Comics logo. I'm hesitant to print anything with the National Comics logo because DC does still sometimes use National Comics, but the sketch covers are a different thing. You can do whatever you want on those. So once I have these blanks in hand, I'm going to draw for myself a National Comics number 76 cover, since both Uncle Sam and Granny Gumshoe are from National Comics. I really wanted to do a National Comics like variant. I just, again, for legal reasons, I didn't, which is why we went with Adventures into Unknown for the throwback variant. But now that we've successfully funded here, we've got another 55 minutes. We'll be able to do that. So we'll probably do a print run, just 25 copies of the blanks. I've got 5 or 6 people that have ordered blanks, one person with the sketch cover where I'm going to be drawing something for them. But then once I get them again, for my own personal collection, I'm definitely going to be doing a National Comics 76 sketch cover for myself. So really excited. Whenever I'm doing these Kickstarters, I always try and think, what do I want in my own collection? That tends to be a good measure of whether someone else will be interested. And I'm happy that other people have seemed to have been excited for this one. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Since this, as I mentioned at the top, we have a much smaller goal. And the interior has been printed before. We only have 20 backers, so I don't have quite as much to talk about with this campaign as I normally do. Normally, we're counting down the last hour, or hopefully people are, new last minute backers are rolling in and stuff like that. There's like stretch goals to aim for, but the stretch goal I had set for this is at 750. I don't think there's any chance we're going to hit that. Only had 3 backers for like the last 10 days. So I don't think we're actually going to get any new backers or pledges during this live stream. So I don't have quite as much to talk about as usual. So if anybody has any questions, not just about this campaign, but about anything that I'm doing or just comics in general, let me know. I'm happy to talk about anything. The campaign ends in 53 minutes. So there's plenty of time. I do have a couple things I can talk about from some of my previous campaigns that some of you may find interesting. Let me switch views here. I've shared this previously on my channel, but we did get the physical proof for Crime Busters number 5 back. I've had a chance to review it. It took me a little while to review the. Let me switch topics before I get back to Crime Busters. So Rob says, by the way, I literally just got around to reading issue number 2 a few nights ago. It was even more enjoyable for number 1. Then again, I'm a sucker for a good Granny Gumshoe story. I really appreciate that. Thanks, Rob, for the nice comments. I really appreciate it. Here's issue 2, the regular cover of Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam. So I just had sent those out a few weeks ago at this point, maybe a month and a half ago. So I haven't really gotten a whole lot of feedback yet from people, but the couple people that have read it that I've talked to seem to have liked it. So that's, as I've talked about before, it's always really nice because you work on these for a long time and you never really have any idea how they're going to go. So that's what the situation I'm in here with Crime Busters number 5. Got the physical proof. There were a number of corrections that I wanted to make, very minor things. I don't think anybody would have noticed but me, but there was like a couple things where it was like, I wanted this word balloon placement a little different, that sort of thing. Tweaking the color by 10%. So it took a little while to review it, but it's all reviewed. I haven't announced this yet, but I have contacted the printer and I sent them the corrections. They sent me back a digital proof and I okayed that. So I have given the printer the go ahead to print Crime Busters number 5. So now it's just a matter of waiting for that. My guess is that it'll be another week, 1 to 2 weeks to have it printed and then it'll be shipped at that point. So still on track to have it in hand before the end of April, which was my hope. I also wanted to share something. I'm going to give you a little bit more behind the scenes. So the Kickstarter campaign for Crime Busters number 5 went better than I was expecting. It was the best by far Crime Busters campaign, like far more backers than my previous issues, a lot more funding. And the result was that I kind of screwed up one thing, which was I had printed issue 4. Here's issue 4, based on, how the campaigns had been going. And when I did my math, it gets really complicated to do on these Kickstarters because you have add-ons and you have the packages, different package deals that include things. And then basically I messed up and I actually sold more copies of issue 4 than I had printed. So this is I just got this in today. It's a new printing of issue 4. I only printed a few of these with the trade hopefully coming out later this summer. I think it's going to be hard to sell the individual issues, so that's why I printed so few copies of number 4 to begin with. So I only printed a few, just enough to cover the orders that I have. But it was very useful, actually a useful experience for me, because my regular printer has a minimum print order of 25 copies, and I didn't want to print that many. Plus, there's been times in the past, and I'm sure there'll be times in the future, where I'm considering doing a smaller, like a micro print one of less than 25 copies. So what I did was I used a different printer where I was able to just order 6 copies. So it gives me, the experience of seeing how the different printer works, the different print quality and stuff. I don't think anybody will notice the difference. There's a few differences that I noticed just because I made them. But I'm happy with how it came out. I think you would have to have both versions side by side and like really look at them to see what the difference is between the two printer versions. But the good news is it's here, and now I have enough copies to actually send people. So when issue 5 arrives, the people that ordered issue 4 will all get it. I was just 1 copy short. I had one person that added it on, and I hadn't quite done the math exactly right. So I ended up, I ordered a couple extras, but so that's the exciting news when it comes to Crime Busters number 5. Number 5. There we go. It's at the printer. I've got everything else in hand. Had a little bit of a boondoggle with the trading cards because when they arrived, whoever delivered them left them out in the middle of a raging storm, and they soaked through and all got completely ruined. Reordered them, and they did the exact same thing happened. The reorder was also left out in the middle of a rainstorm, but that time I happened to notice just after they had left them, and I was able to get the boxes were wet, but they hadn't soaked through to the cards yet. So have the cards now safely in hand. So I've got everything ready to fulfill Crime Busters 5, except for Crime Busters number 5. So we just have to wait for that. So just going to take a little bit of a drink here. Again, if anyone has any questions, comments, concerns. Rob, I'm not sure if you're still here. I can't see who's actually watching, but I guess I might as well mention this. Speaking of Granny Gumshoe, National Comics, I'm still working hard to put together a full run of the Granny Gumshoe National Comics collection. I do have a haul video coming up, which is mostly issues of National Comics. Because I've gotten almost all of them now. I'm just missing 2 issues. I've managed to get the rest of them. So I'm going to be showing the rest of them off sometime next week in one of the haul videos. But over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten 8 issues of National Comics that were delivered. So the ones that I'm missing now are 66 and 70. I have all the rest of them. Here is how I did it, because there might be a few Rob, that you're still missing that are out there as well. Is I basically, on the CGC forums, there's a thread somewhere that's kind of out of date, but it has a list of all the online dealers that sell Golden Age comics. And I went to all of their websites individually. I checked 100 different websites. A lot of them weren't working anymore, but I checked every single individual dealer's website that I could find to check to see if they had them, because a lot of these dealers don't actually sell on eBay. I went to all of these individual websites and I checked them all, and I was able to find some. But the other thing that as part of this, one of the websites I went to, I'm sure, Rob, that you have seen one of the people that has these copies that we both, I think, needed, but also were too expensive because everything this guy has is too expensive. There's a guy on eBay who with the name DTA Coll, and he's got like tons of awesome stuff, and it's all incredibly overpriced, right? Well, I discovered that he has his own website, DTA Collectibles, has all the same comics for sale on his own website that are on eBay, and they're all much cheaper. He's added like a huge eBay tax, um, which makes sense because eBay, you have such massive fees, but he's really gone overboard. So there was one issue of National Comics that it needed that he had on there on eBay for 100. I was able to get it through his website for, I think it was 65. And then he had another one that was similarly, it was something like 75 on eBay, but it was only like 45 on his own website. So rather than buying them through eBay, I went to his personal website, and there was like, it was like 40% off everything from the eBay prices. It was still expensive. It was still more than I wanted to pay, but it was just within, it was much, much more reasonable and within the range. So one thing to check, if that guy has anything that you need, to check his individual website, because everything he has on eBay is on his own website for like 35 to 40% less. But some of the stuff I ordered, there was one guy who had a couple issues I needed listed. There's no pictures. It was just like, here's the issue number, here's what his grade was, VG, and you just send the money and cross your fingers. It was like ordering comics back in the 80s. But a couple of them I have are really, really rough, but the interior pages are okay. And since I want to get them to scan, to do a 100-page giant, I was okay with getting a couple that are really low grades that I can replace for my personal collection later. But, so yeah, I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to having done that. Once I get 66 and 70, then I'm going to scan all of them, and we'll start working on that. And then I got to figure out what the other story in that 100-page would be, because I kind of want to have a lot of ideas for new Granny Gumshoe stories. It's just a matter of having the bandwidth and the money to do it. Yeah, that's my tip. I wish I could tell you some of the other people that I bought from, but I don't remember. Yeah, I spent like 3 hours one night. I was like, I'm going to find these National Comics. And I just went to I had 35 browser tabs open, trying to find all the different websites to see who had them and who didn't. Still haven't been able to get 66 or 70, but I think you also need 70 at least. I think that feels like that's going to be the hardest for some reason. But we'll see. I'm going to take another drink. Anyone have any questions, comments? All right, why don't we take a look at the campaign, see if we've had any movement. I doubt it. We're going to refresh this. And no, so that's okay. This has been a sort of low energy campaign. Usually I am out there stumping the whole time, promoting on different websites. I'm on Discord, I'm on Reddit, I'm on Facebook, I'm on all these different comic forums, constantly sharing the links and doing, Instagrams and TikToks and YouTube videos and cross promoting as much as possible with every other campaign that I can find on Kickstarter. This time I didn't really do any of that. I did cross promote a little bit with a handful of people that I already know from previous Kickstarters that happen to have campaigns running, so I wanted to support them. But for the most part, this is one where once we hit the goal on the first day, I thought I would just sort of let it, take its course. I didn't want to spend, these can take a huge amount of energy, and I didn't really want to spend that energy. Instead, what I've been working on is Quest. That's my new fantasy comic. So I can show you a couple things from that. Sometime later this month, I'm going to be sending out the newsletter to anyone who is on my newsletter. I'm going to have, hopefully they'll have the first 5 pages of Quest and all the variant covers and all that stuff. It'll probably be at least a week before I have that all done. I'm also going to do a YouTube video where I go over all of it, and we're going to have the pre-launch link. We're getting very close to let's see, getting very close to having this done. Let's see. Okay. All right, this is actually a little bit smaller than I was expecting it to be. Let me see if I can zoom in on that just a little bit. Yeah, here's the cover, the regular cover for Quest number 1, which is now done. It's like a D&D inspired, epic fantasy. I love fantasy movies, comics, video games, Dungeons and Dragons, all that stuff. And so I wanted to do like, a Lord of the Rings, like a big epic party of adventurers, dungeon crawls, epic quest, the whole 9 yards. So I've been working on this quite a lot. The first issue is mostly done. I'm working on finishing the coloring. I can show you some of the pages to that. Here's the let me show you this as well. And the technology is difficult. Technology is difficult. Here we go. Almost got it. All right, hold on. I can't seem to figure this out. I have a screen here that I'm trying to share, and it's not allowing me to do it. Here we go. All right, here's the retro cover. Which of course is a homage to Conan number 1. All of the variant covers for this are going to be limited number, so I think there's only going to be I think there's only going to be 100 copies of most of them, and less than that of some of them. And then we've got some of this stuff I've shown before, although some of it's new, so I don't remember what I've shown. Here's the movie poster cover, which is by Erwin J. Arosa. He does a lot of really cool covers for Kickstarter campaigns and stuff. I might tweak the logo a little bit, but I'm really happy with this cover. And then we've got let's see, I'm really excited for this cover here. I know there's easier ways to do this more smoothly. And where did that go? It has lost what it's doing here. Here we go. Here's the Rob. This is a good question. Rob asks, "Is the character name pronounced with the H silent as in Charles Vest?" That is exactly how it's pronounced. That's right. It's a silent H. It's pronounced Vest, silent H. Vest is a character that I've been playing in video games since the 90s. So whenever I play a video game, any kind of RPG fantasy game where you can create your own character, Vest is my character. And I've had so many people in like voice chat call me VS. But it's Vest. Yeah, so here's the module cover. It's based on a cover called The Lost Caverns of Sojcanth. I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced, but Sojcanth. And so this art is based on that. It's an homage to that. I tried to find the module. I wanted to find a module that where the what was happening on the cover and what the flavor of the cover was, the module was similar to this story. So that's what I'm going to try and do every issue. There's going to be a module cover for every issue. But one thing I'm trying with this that's different from what I've done in the past, this isn't just a variant cover. It's going to have an additional probably 8 pages, 6 to 8 pages of game supplements. So if you play D&D or some kind of tabletop RPG, it's going to have like the rules. This first issue is going to have the rules for playing a paladin in this world. It's going to have the monster for this issue, and it's going to have some of the setting, Denshire, the dwarven ruins that they're in. So if you want to play basically the story or use elements from this comic in your own tabletop adventure, you have, if you buy this variant, it's going to have the extra pages in the back with this game supplement so you can play the comic. I haven't quite decided if there's going to be 100 copies. Again, there's going to be limited. I might do 200 for this one because I do think in the long run that this will be popular. So I'm not quite sure, but yeah, so that's the plan. So some of this I've shown various places. I do have some new things that I have not shown yet. It's just going to take me a minute. Anyone have any questions or anything? I guess I should be talking more about the Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam blanks, but I think I've kind of said just about everything for that one. I know what I can do here. Rob says he's going to do a Keep on the Borderlands cover. an issue down the road. Yes, that is my favorite module, and yes, it hasn't been drawn yet, but um, I am definitely going to do that. In fact, I can show you here. Let me see, where is it? I have so many different tabs. So many different pictures. All right, here we go. Like I said, I haven't drawn anything yet for issue 2, but as you can see, I have designed the cover. I've got all the I've got everything ready for it. I just haven't had a chance to actually draw the picture. Like, I haven't done the artwork yet. But yes, the Citadel and the Borderlands is going to be the title of the second issue variant cover. So it's all ready to go. I just don't have another time. I should say, like, I have an artist working on issue 2 right now, and he actually has one page left to send in. So, by the time the Quest 1 Kickstarter launches next month, I'm gonna have all the art for issue 2 done, and he's gonna be partway into issue 3. So, like, I'm hoping to, at that point, I'm gonna have to stop at least long enough to get some money back from the issue 1 Kickstarter before I can, pay anyone to work on issue 4. But we're gonna get a little bit further ahead so that this can come out faster. One thing that I have gotten back, which I haven't showed anybody yet, is I have gotten all of the colored pages back from the colorist, and then I've been going in and, she's a flatter. She doesn't do the finished color, so I've been going in and adding all of the finished colors and shading and stuff. And so I have the first 5 pages of the art completely done. So here's the 2-page spread, pages 2 and 3 of first issue of Quest here. So I'm really happy with how it's coming out. I'm really excited. Like, the black and white art looked really cool. But now that I'm getting the finished colors in here, I'm really happy with how it's going. It's a lot of work to get the lighting and everything. But I think it looks really cool. Let me show you the first page as well. I've got the first 5 pages. Here's page. Let me show you page 5. This is a little more graphic designy, which I like. I'm going to be doing another YouTube video where I basically do all the same thing again. But here's page 5, where Vess kills a bunch of gnolls that are overwhelming the camp. Rob says, really like that you use the old module picture frame motif instead of the later AD&D second edition stuff. I mean, that's the module frame. I started playing, I think, in 1980, and so that's what D&D looks like for me. That's what I want. I want that sort of retro feel to what it looked like when I was a kid. So yeah, that's every issue is going to have a module cover. Every issue is and all the module variants are going to have again, gaming supplement in the back with like different classes and monsters and settings from the issue. And then at some point down the road, once there's several issues out, I'll put it have like a collected like booklet you can get with just that stuff, which I think will be fun. Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. I can show you what the flatter. I'll show you what the flatter sent me because it's very different. And that's actually I can't show you what the flatter sent me because it's in a format where I can't show it. I have a very I want the because I'm colorblind, I really like a lot of contrast. I think very graphic designy. I want it to really everything to really pop. Shades that have some colors that I think I know are distinct for other people have the same sort of weight for me. So I'm very much into high contrast stuff. So all the stuff with the moon and that bright red background in the panel where she's decapitating all those gnolls, that's all stuff that I added. I changed basically the background colors for changed quite a bit of the coloring actually, and other stuff like in the original art or in that big panel where she's killing all the gnolls with the red background. There was originally a horse behind her, but I decided it really distracted from the image. Once it was colored, it just was weird to have behind her a big sort of gray horse. So I erased the horse completely. But anyway, I'm really excited for how this is coming together. I'm trying to get these first 5 pages done before I send out the next newsletter so I can show everyone the pages. I'll probably have a PDF that I'll be giving out to everyone that has the first 5 pages. And I've really been working a lot on the inside front cover. It's not done yet. Now I know a lot of people don't really read the inside front cover. So it's not necessarily going to be for everybody. But the story jumps right into the middle of the action. So I'm having sort of a prologue for people who do want to read it. And let me show you that it's not finished yet. I was actually just drawing it before this started. And it's got a little thing up here that says the quest begins, and it's just a little setup. And you see you've got the old school map of this part of the world they're in, and then you've got the different groups of characters with their names and their what class they are. So it'll be Hugin is the ranger. Day in the middle here is the monk, and then there's the second group there that says the mercenaries, and it's going to have all the different character things with little text boxes just explaining who they are and what they're doing. So again, not everyone's going to read this. A lot of people are just going to jump right into the story, but for people who do want more sort of depth to the lore and the world building, so to get some background on who the characters are before the story start, it's going to have the cast of characters and everything. When I read fantasy novels, I love to have the map in the front, and then sometimes they'll have an index with all of the character names with pronunciation guides. I'm not doing pronunciations, but that's basically what I have in mind here. So it'd be here's the cast of characters and stuff like that. Rob says, reminds me of the old Bard's Tale computer game series. I'm trying to remember if I played that or not. I feel like I must have. I love playing RPGs and MMOs and stuff on video games. So, but yeah, I see what now that you've said that, I do see what you mean in terms of it does have that sort of old school video game quality with the banners and stuff. for those screens, which is great because I love that sort of thing. And I do want to have a retro feel. This page isn't done. I have to finish coloring in the characters. And then I'm going to do a little design, like just to space it out a little bit differently. But yeah, so as you can tell, I'm really excited for Quest. And I've got the Kickstarter page partially done. For those of you who haven't been on Kickstarter for a little bit, let's go back to Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, which is what we're supposed to be talking about. They've added a new feature that people have been asking for for 15 years since Kickstarter started, and that is this. They've added pictures to the pledge levels. So I've been working on the Quest #1 Kickstarter page. It's going to make the Kickstarter page so much more streamlined because the main part's going to have it's going to have the sample pages. It's going to have big versions of all the variant covers, but it's not going to have that giant section that has like the list of all the reward tiers and all the little tiny pictures. And then like the 24 add-ons with all the pictures, and it's like you don't need to do any of that stuff anymore because the add-on page also has the pictures of what you're getting, right? So like like here, if you're getting the set of the Adventures into the Unknown variants, boom, there they both are. And if you're gonna get the sketch cover, here's a sample of what the sketch cover might look like. So it's just the design, the graphics, like the Kickstarter page itself is getting so much better. So I've been working on getting that ready. I've got one variant cover that's not quite done. Had a couple issues with it, so I'm still editing it, and I need to get that finished before I'm ready to sort of submit the Kickstarter page for review. But I'm hoping that by next weekend I'll have the pre-launch page up, and then I can send out the mailing list and do a video where I go over who all the characters are, what the story's about, which I haven't really talked about anywhere yet, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just very exciting. Thanks for joining me, Rob. I really appreciate you giving me someone to talk to, and I appreciate your contributions, and I appreciate your support. Thanks very much for joining me here. And if I stumble across any of those national comics when I'm looking at any of these websites again, I'll let you know. Somewhere I've got a list of which ones you're still missing. So thanks again for joining me. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get a drink here. Okay, so here we are. We've got, as you can see, we've got 16 minutes left. As I expected, we haven't gotten any backers or any funding during this last hour, but it is very exciting to be able to get these blank covers. It's really exciting also because of those 20 backers, probably more than half of them are new backers. So the people that are coming into the Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam universe and the Crime Buster Comics universe for the first time. So I'm really happy to be able to share the stories with more people. Obviously, all these stories are very personal for me. So I really love that. The other thing that I guess I can show you here in this last little bit is a sneak tease of the other big thing coming this year, Well, excuse me. Had a little hiccup there. That's what happens when you drink while you're lying down. Um, so besides quest number one, and hopefully number two, both coming out later this year, we also got the Crime Busters trade, which hopefully be this summer. I'm actively working on getting the pages prepared for the colorist for issues 2 and 3, which were previously in black and white, and I'm having them colorized for the trade. So that's an ongoing process as well. So much work to do on everything all the time. But in the meantime, one of the other things that we're hoping to get to you later this year, if there's time for it, if we even have like enough Kickstarter launch slots to do this, is the Crime Busters number 6, because my artist Mac Radwanski is currently working hard at work on the Crime Busters number 6, and I've actually already gotten 12 pages from him. We've got the whole 6-page backup story done, and we've got the first 6 pages of the main story done, and I've got an exciting surprise for people, because I don't think I've announced this anywhere yet. And so let me show it to you here. I hope other people are as excited as I am for this. All right, here we are. You can see Mac's cool art. We got our investigators looking through a keyhole, and they find a skeleton. There's haunted painting. It's got a lot of stuff going on. But let's take a look, because here's a surprise. The investigators in this particular part of the story, it's not Chuck and Trixie. There's a guy. There's 2 guys. Let's see if I can get in even closer. Yeah, we got 2 guys here. So who are these 2 guys that are investigating in this part of the story? Yes, it's the Hardy Boys. So I'm really excited for this. Only have a couple pages of the Hardy Boys in here, but the Hardy Boys entered the public domain. So as of January 1st, the Hardy Boys are in the public domain. Obviously, Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys are some of the big influences on the Crime Busters. So I was really excited when when they entered the public domain. I knew I needed to use them as soon as possible. There happened to be a section in this story that was perfect. Basically, Trixie's investigating something, and she discovers that the Hardy Boys have a similar case that they're working on. And so here we're getting sort of a flashback where the Hardy Boys have sent Trixie a letter telling her what's happening in their case, and then that informs what Chuck and Trixie are doing. So yeah, really excited for this. Mac's turning in some really cool art. And it's just really cool to be able to use the Hardy Boys. I'm really excited to be able to use Nancy Drew. She's not in the public domain yet, but I think 2 years. We got 2 more years. So sometime, hopefully around Crime Busters 11 or 12, Nancy Drew will enter the public domain, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit her into anything that soon, but we'll see. Because definitely, as soon as Nancy Drew's available, I want to use her and have her team up with Trixie. So I'm really excited for that. And another thing I can show you that hopefully some of you will be excited about, fans of Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam will hopefully be excited for this. The next issue of Crime Busters number 6, is going to have Uncle Sam in it. And so I commissioned a special variant cover by Jay Piscopo. Jay, of course, is the artist from Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam. And so here we have the Boy Comics 125 variant cover for Crimebusters number 6, which as you can see, it has Uncle Sam fighting Crimebuster on it. I did it a little bit like the wrestling poster variant for Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam. So I'm really happy to be able to bring this out and share this with everyone. And I think people will really dig this. I really dig it. So still have a lot of work to do on Crimebuster 6. I'm still trying to decide exactly what the Kickstarter exclusive variant cover is going to be. I have a bunch of different ideas, but I think I know what direction I'm leaning for that. So some point down the road, I'll be doing that. But for the time being, I don't really have the time to draw that because I have other variant covers that I need to draw first for other things, and I have a lot of other work that comes before that. But at some point down the road, we're gonna do that. So a big exciting year, a lot of Kickstarters, a lot of cool comics, a lot of stuff I've been working on for a long time coming together here. So again, we'll have quest number 1, Crimebusters trade paperback, quest number 2, and then hopefully Crimebusters 6, hoping to get all 4 of those out before the end of this year, if we can manage it. So it's just a really exciting time. And here's the other thing I'll mention. I'm not going to show a sneak preview this yet. I want to save this for a little bit later down the road. But I've now been putting out these comics for 4 years. So it's been 4 years since the first issue of Crimebuster came out on Kickstarter. And so next year will be the 5th anniversary of Crimebuster Comics. And so I was thinking about what can I do to celebrate it. And every comic that I do next year is going to have a special 5th anniversary variant cover. And there's going to be a series of them that all go together. So they're not going to be interconnected, but you'll understand when I show them. They're all going to have a similar theme, and I think people are really going to like them. I've had a lot of fun drawing those and working on the design for those because I just think it's really cool. So that's another thing to look forward to next year is that. So we got 7 minutes left. I'm going to take another drink. Hopefully I won't hiccup this time. And that's basically where we're at. As I mentioned, quest number 2 is almost done. So like my artist just has 1 page left on quest number 2, and I'm in the process of this weekend. I'll be finishing the script for quest number 3 because he's going to go right into that next week. And so, by the time, I think it's very possible that by the time the Kickstarter for quest number 1 ends in June, my artist may actually be done with quest number 3, and I'll have 2 and 3 both the art done for both of those. And by that point, there's a reasonable chance that Mac will be either done or close to done on Crimebuster 6. So June's going to be a busy month for me. As they come in, I'm also going to be sending them off to the colorist to have them flatted, get the flat colors. The finished colors are definitely faster for me to do on Crimebusters because there's less lighting effects, and it's just a flatter feel to the book than Quest, but it's really exciting. It's really exciting, like getting the stuff in. The immediate future, again, I'm going to be working on finishing the inside front cover for Quest number 1. Then I've got like a title page, which is going to be, it's almost like the scroll at the beginning of the Star Wars. It's going to be like that. And then I'm going to be doing the lettering, which includes like the sound effects and stuff like that for the first 5 pages of Quest number 1. I'll finish the Kickstarter page for Quest number 1, and then hopefully next weekend I'll be able to debut all that stuff, send it out to everyone, show everybody all the stuff we've been working on. Really want to get to 100 pre-launch followers on Quest number 1 before we launch. I think that's going to be a struggle for me with the size of my currently existing audience. But I'm going to share it everywhere I can, as much as possible to try and get people on board. The more people you have pre-launch, the bigger your first couple days are, and that has a snowball effect because of the Kickstarter algorithms. So the bigger you start, usually the bigger you finish. And I really want to Quest number 1, I have a lot of money sunk into it, but also it's a story that's very important to me. And if we can get that series off on a good foundation, I think we can really build something cool. I'm really excited for the stories in issues 2 and 3, even more just as a writer, just like from a story perspective. I'm really excited to bring you that. Well, that's where we get more into Vess's backstory. Vess the Paladin is kind of the main character. And you kind of it's got almost like a horror feel to it. And so I think it's going to sort of set a tone. The first couple issues, like you'll see sort of how unforgiving this world is. And you can't take anything for granted with the characters. There's not really a lot of plot immunity for anybody. So some characters that seem really cool right at the beginning, they may not be around very long. I try and make everybody cool. I want all the characters to be interesting and cool, even if they're only there for a couple pages. I don't want you to be able to say, "Oh, that guy's clearly a red shirt." So there's going to be a number of characters that don't make it past the first couple of stories. And then we're going to have new party members are going to be joining the survivors. In issue 4, we're going to get a bunch of new characters. That's kind of how the series is going to go throughout. We're going to have characters that disappear. They're not all going to die, but we might have characters that come in and out of the story. We'll bring in new characters. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. And I've got a big overarching epic storyline for Quest that I think will be really cool. So I'm really excited for people to see all of that. I mentioned, I probably shouldn't have shown everything here because I am going to do a video just to talk about Quest, and it's going to have, but I'm going to talk more about the characters, who they are, what the story is, what the plot is, what the whole thing is here. So we're into the final minute. I'm counting down the last minute of the Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam Returns. One thing I should mention here, the final minute, if anyone is still with me, is that because of the nature of this campaign, there's only 20 backers, but a lot of them are new people. They're ordering, they're ordering, I've got them here somewhere, so if I can pick them up. They're ordering the first 2 issues, which I already have, or they're ordering the PDFs. I'm going to be able to fulfill all those people right away because everything's here. I already have it. I have all the PDFs. I have all the regular issues. The only people that are going to have to wait for their rewards are the people that are getting the blank covers. Those obviously I need to have printed, so that's going to be a little while. But there's most of the people I'm actually being able to do the fulfillment immediately. Here we are, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1, and we're done. We did it. Campaign over, $459. Very exciting. I want to thank everybody that's backed, everybody that's supported me. I'm really excited to get these blanks and to send out the sketches and to do sketches for myself. I'll definitely be showing some of those once I've drawn a cover for myself with the National Comics logo. I'll definitely be sharing that with everybody. So I'm excited for that. So that's it for this time. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back later this month with the pre-launch link for quest number 1, and I'll have a whole video where I talk all about quest number 1. I really hope everybody's excited as I am. So thanks very much. I'll see you then.